Cosmic book news: Snow White bombs as Jason Statham's A Working Man explodes. Disney's Snow White is put to a permanent sleep in its second weekend at the box office. A new action-packed movie from Jason Statham, David Ayer, and Sylvester Stallone ruses audience awake with Working Man. So I believe there was a 67% drop.
Oh,
that is huge. Now,
that's huge. Yeah.
Remember, like maybe like about a month prior to this movie coming out, they were giving like box office estimates, saying that this movie is going to hit 100 million, and then the next week 90 million, and then 60 million. Oh, actually 50 million, and then it didn't even crack 50 million. I believe it got 42 million dollars opening weekend. So this is absolutely abysmal. This is one of the worst I would say live action movies other than Mulan out there in terms of box office. This is really bad. What do you guys think about this?
You can go first, Grae.
Yeah, I would argue it's the worst. Even I know you said last week, Phil. It's like I think you think Mulan's worse because like your sentiments on Mulan with the original animated film. But as far as I know, the actress for the Mulan live action didn't say anything either. Or wait, she kind of did, but not as obnoxious and not as brazen as Zegler, shall we say. So at least there's that. Like it's pretty, she's more tame at least. Is that the right terminology, the way of saying it? Compared to, let's say, what Rachel's doing now. Like she's quadrupling down on shitting on people, making her look even worse and making Disney as a whole worse. So I don't know the financials. I don't know how much Mulan live action lost, but in terms of not just monetary, but also reputational damage, I think Zegler did and Snow White did more damage than the live action Mulan did. Yeah.
How do you feel, Gami?
Well, I'm going to say the same thing I always say. We were told, we as in the toxic male audience, we were told that this wasn't for us. Zegler herself said she doesn't need our money. She said that. And they always say that. This isn't made for you. This is not for us. The Working Man looks like it's made for me. That's a guy's movie. So, one of the culture critics or the media critics that I listened to, he did make a point. We're talking about Snow White. It's a movie made for girls. It's a girl's property. That's true. So why do we even need to go? And when they tell us to actively go away, we always say, sure, no problem. We just won't see it. The question is, so then now it's bombing, and now they would try to blame us for going away, but they told us to go away, but this wasn't made for us. It's made for who? It's made for 52% of the population. It's actually over half. I think it's actually over half of the population it was made for. They make 80% of the economic decisions in this country and society, and in the West in general. Women do this.
Yep.
They proved that with Barbie. They proved that with the existence of shopping malls. Shopping malls did not exist before 1980, like in the way that they exist, like we knew them up to 10 years ago. So if you have more people in your demographic and they spend more money in the demographic and your shit bombs, the question is not what's wrong with us. The question is, why didn't you reach the women? Where are the ladies? Where are you? Now, I'm not a lady and I don't really care. So that's not a question for me. Now, the Working Man, that's what I want to see. And that's what a lot of guys want to see. We're not going to see Snow White. We shouldn't have to go see Snow White. We're going to go see. So these aren't even, my point is, these aren't even competitors. These are not competing movies. Snow White did not lose audience to the Working Man. No. Okay. These are completely separate audiences. So, we all know the answer why Disney's failing. I don't think they get it yet. And I really don't think Rachel Zegler gets it yet. And frankly, it's just funny to watch them flounder. Now, the reason it's actually is important, because again, some of the critics I listen to are like, well, why do you care about a girl's film? It's like, okay, here's why we should care. This isn't like Mulan. This isn't like any of the Disney live actions that came before. Because Snow White is the movie that made Disney. It could have broken it if Snow White did not succeed in 38?
I think 38, 37.
That was the end of Disney. Disney pretty much went bankrupt. Disney, Walt and Roy pretty much went bankrupt making this movie. It was the first of its kind, a feature-length, animated, fully and beautifully animated film. Did not exist before this. This is the first one that built the entire industry, and you're gonna fuck it up this bad. It's almost as bad as Wish. Remember when Wish came out and no one gave a shit?
I preferred Wish over this at least. At least Wish
Right.
was like, okay, you know, it is sort of bad, but it's like, you know, some parts are
Yeah.
okay, but it's just it's not good overall. But this one is just like it's
But they made
it's
the same
awful.
mistake, is that Wish was supposed to be a celebration of 100 years of Disney. It was supposed to be the movie about where the magic came from, When You Wish Upon a Star. That was supposed to be the homage to what made Disney what it was, and it fell flat on its face because they didn't give a shit. They only cared about, we want to make yet another girl boss, strong, empowered woman of color, blah, 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 blah. No one gives a fuck. And again, we don't have to give a fuck. This is a girls' movie.
Yep.
But with Snow White, that's different. Snow White this is supposed to be, well, none of the live actions have been good, ever. But if there was one live action you either had to knock it out of the park with or just don't do, it had to be the first movie that built the company and built the industry in America. There would be no animation industry as we have it today if Snow White failed in 1937. So this is a huge fuck up on their part. And it's not about, well, this is a girls' movie, we guys don't have to see it. This is a culture thing. They fucked up royally on a cultural level. And they just don't see it. And Rachel Zegler is going to sit there and cry like a fake theater kid and say she's the winged victory. Well, guess what? No one's lining up to see your stupid ass at the loo. So we just can't wait for you to go away, really.
Yeah, it's the narcissistic like mentality that these young Zoomers have, is because they're so entitled with everything, is because it's all about the optics, right? If nobody actually cared, she had like no followers, no one would give a shit about what she said, then like she would not make any of these like dumb, I guess you would say theater, because she's a theater kid. So
Absolutely.
like no one would actually care, right? But let's go ahead and talk about the you know, her being criticized right over here from Forbes. Why Snow White producer son criticized Rachel Zegler over social media actions. So long story short,
what publication is this?
This is from Forbes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so long story short, Mark Platt, I believe, is basically the producer. The producer's son has a podcast, and it's talking like being Jewish. So automatically, this is already like bad look for her. And okay, like Ogami, we worked together before. We've been to E3 before. Remember when before we went to E3, they're like, "Hey, you represent the company. Don't say anything dumb. Don't do anything stupid and embarrass the company." Remember that? Rachel Zegler did not get the memo.
No.
Or she probably just threw the memo out and didn't care because she's you know, entitled narcissistic bitch.
You used the right word, narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
To a narcissist, they are the star of the movie. Everything and everyone else are just supporting characters and extras.
Yep.
It describes her perfectly.
Yep. So let's see. The son of Snow White producer Mark Platt hosted a grievances this week over star Rachel Zegler's social media activity during the production of the film, only to soon delete them. Snow White, which also stars Gal Gadot as the evil queen, has been embroiled in one controversy after another for more than 3 years. In one of them, Zegler made pointed comments about how Disney's animated classic Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was dated and how it referred to the character of the prince as a stalker in a 2022 extra with extra TV. However, it was August 2024, posted on X, following a thank you note to all the followers watching the Snow White trailer, that caused Disney to spring into action. After initial thank you to fans, Zegler followed up with another post that reads, "Always and remember, free Palestine." Look, I don't really care where you stand, you know, when it comes to like Palestine, you know, Israel, fucking Ukraine or Russia. I don't really care, but you should not do this so close to the release date of your movie, given the fact that you will alienate more than half your audience. Is because there are, like I mentioned, there are a lot, and even Dave Chappelle said there are a lot of Jews in Hollywood. You do not say this shit, man. All right, it's not like fucking Gal Gadot came out and fucking say "fuck River to the sea," "fuck you." Like, she didn't say anything, right?
Yep.
She's part of the IDF. She knows better not to say anything. You like just don't say anything. Keep those political shit. Don't say. But the thing is, she's an activist. She's also a narcissist as well. She has a shit ton of followers on Instagram, and that's the reason why I think one reason why people wanted her to be in West Side Story, right? It's because she has a lot of following. Let's get the young people into Hollywood activists and stuff like that. And now that Trump won, and she also demonized, half the United States, more than half the United States.
She
right?
said,
No peace for people who vote, and no peace for Trump supporters and Trump himself. So you already alienated half of it. And I talked about this on my own channel. Republicans and conservatives are the ones who have kids. Democrats, liberals, they don't have kids. So
statistically, that's absolutely true. Yes.
So if you're saying, Trump supporters know no peace, most of those conservatives, MAGAs, or even Republicans voted for Trump. So you're saying, don't come see the movie. Right? It's because they're the ones who have kids. This person said this about me. Oh, and I'm not going to bring my kids to go watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she fucked up even more than that. Because you're talking as if this is 2016 and Trump won the electoral vote, but not the popular vote.
Yes.
So that was one thing that everyone we knew who was upset about it held over our heads. Well, what the hell is this electoral college anyway? Why, he didn't win they don't get to say that now. He won the popular vote by an overwhelming majority. So what that means is that a lot of normal people in the middle who normally would vote blue or red, you're not sure which way they went, he won all 7 swing states, which means the people in the middle, the normies, went his way. And all you got to do is look at the map of the popular vote, and it was just like almost all red except for like 50 counties. So when you say no peace, you're talking to not just half the audience, you're talking to the majority. And that includes not MAGA hat wearing conservatives. You're talking about regular people who also have kids, who might actually agree with you on a lot of stuff. Rachel, they might actually agree that women should be paid more. They might actually agree that we should have open borders. But it's just the things are gotten so bad, they went the other way, and now you're telling them not to see your movie. This isn't 2016. You don't get to just say, fuck half the audience. You're actually saying fuck 80% of the audience at this point.
Yeah, 100%. So it's going to continue right over here to see following Snow White's flat opening of $42.2 million at the domestic box office against the film's massive $270 million production budget. That's a lot, man. What was this? Grae, do you remember if this was? I think Little Mermaid was more, right? Wasn't Little Mermaid like 330? Like,
I think so. Yeah, but I really think these are understated given the reshoots.
yeah.
So I would think it's more. It costed more than Little Mermaid, as far as I can see.
So let's say this is the actual figure, okay? I'm play devil's advocate and give this person the benefit of the doubt. This is the actual figure, $270 million. Let's say you need almost, 1.5 to almost 2 times the amount. So maybe you need like 600 million just to break even. That's pretty fucking awful.
Yeah, they needed this to be $1 billion. They needed it.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Variety reported that Snow White producer Mark Platt flew to New York to meet with Zegler in an effort to take the post down, but she refused. The ex-post remains online to this day. Zegler wasn't done being outspoken, though. She also criticized President Donald Trump and his MAGA followers in a post-election post in November that read, "Fuck Donald Trump," and made Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace. Although she later apologized to Variety, and we all know that was basically her PR saying that you need to put out this exact apology. Is because if you actually look at her initial post, all lowercase, and then the actual apology is correct pronunciation, not pronunciation, but correct punctuation, and like things are capitalized. So that is not her doing, which is actually her PR is doing that for her, because like, oh shit, we need to like We need to like fucking, stop this bitch from talking. And that's the reason why I think that the last several months, maybe like 2-3 months leading up to the movie, she was pretty whisper quiet online in terms of her activism. Right? You see, the trade publication said that that Platt once again took up the issues with Zegler. After a back and forth, she began working with social media guru paid for by Disney to vet any post before the film. I did not know that. I didn't know that actually happened. So she worked with a social media guru. So make sure they vet all of her posts before it goes out. That's fucking crazy. Holy shit.
Yeah. I don't. I think there's some stuff happening recently. Did she make a reaction to the box office performance? I haven't been seeing the latest videos about.
So there was a video of her basically crying. I'm not sure she was crying. She always looks like she's crying, but she basically recorded a video of her saying, out of all of the attacks on me, all of the people who hates me, people still came out to watch me, right? Because it was that one day, or that whatever one, however long it was the #1 movie in the world. Remember that weekend that Snow White came out, Snow White had no competition. Right? Now you have this week completely destroying, Snow White with a working man. So it's just insane. But the thing is that we know that they have a social media person, but this was actually, the fact that we actually see it in writing makes it really funny. Holy crap. So Jonah Platt's Instagram post says that Rachel Zegler's actions hurt the Snow White's box office. In the aftermath of Variety report, a social media user made a comment about Mark Platt's meeting with Rachel Zegler on Jonah Platt's Instagram page, which read, "Your dad flew to NYC to reprimand a young actress about this. Any words about on this? Because that's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No shame on your father." So this is the thing where I mentioned earlier with Ogami saying that we represent the company. We represent people that we work for. So if you're going out to the public, wilding out, wearing, a badge saying that, hey, you work for this company, you're going to make that company look really bad. Especially the fact that she has such a big influence with social media. So Jonah Platt didn't take too kindly to the comment and slammed Rachel Zegler's actions in the Instagram post. Platt deleted the post, but not before other social media users were able to take a snap of it, and outlets like Hollywood Reporter were able to quote it. "You really want to do this? Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of a Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars online, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand a 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie, for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for." Platt's hosts the Being Jewish podcast and is an actor whose credits include Being, The Ricardos, and The Trolls, and I believe he also worked on Wicked. So how do you guys feel about it? Do you feel like Mark Platt is right here, that she flew across state to like reprimand her? Do you think, or do you think that this is like against her First Amendment rights?
I'm pretty. So was that long Instagram post deleted already, or is it still there?
I believe so. Let me see.
Yeah, Platt deleted the post. I'm pretty confused if it's deleted or it's.
According to what I heard, according to this, is no longer there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has the right to, especially like he has ties to the original source material. Of course, he wants to make it the best as it can be, given the circumstance. Even though it's should have been another actress and so on and so forth, given all the issues of the movie we talked about before it came out. Yeah, I do. Like if your ancestors, like, or the people before you, were the ones responsible for this project that kind of shaped the world, you do want it for the next generation, or the modern day version, to be at least, at the very least, nearly as good. But because of Rachel Zegler and her politics, and she couldn't keep her mouth shut, it's very, very, very far off. And I get it. He has the right to be frustrated. And And to answer Phil's question, no, I don't think any Zegler's rights to anything got violated in any way. So screw her.
What about you, Ogami?
I just think it's hilarious. These SJWs, and back in the day we used to call them SJWs before we called them wokies or lefties, but they're like quintessential wrestling heels. Now, I don't know if you ever watched pro wrestling, but the bad guys always use the rules as a weapon. They never followed the rules. They always broke the rules. But
Mhm.
then when they started getting beat on, when they started getting the pressure, they would use the rules as a weapon. That's what she's doing here. They didn't give a fuck about First Amendment when Gina Carano got fired. They didn't give a shit about First Amendment when people were saying, well, wait, why do we need the vaccines to be mandatory? They didn't give a fuck about any of that stuff. If you ever you ever bring up like any kind of crime statistic, they would, X before Twitter was X, they would actually ban you from the platform. So they didn't give a fuck about First Amendment when it suits them. But now all of a
Mhm.
sudden that you're getting a little pushback, it's literally like the meme. It's the meme of the feminist chick with a shovel taking a pile of her shit, throwing it over the wall of the internet, and all these other shovels throw shit back at her, and she's like, I'm being oppressed.
Yeah.
Mr. Platt here doesn't work for the government, although, there are some people who would say that because he's Jewish, he kind of owns the place. But from what I understand, I don't think he has any pull in putting her into any kind of camp because she said some stuff about Palestine. We're not talking about First Amendment. What I'm sure she means is that she has freedom of speech. And that's true. No one's going to arrest her for her opinion about Gal Gadot, or I'll call them the tribe because I don't want you to get in too much trouble with the people who, like the meme says, own the place. But no one's going to jail over this. But that doesn't mean that when you work for a private company and that company needs a project to have good PR and good marketing, and you fuck it up, that you'll continue working with the company. One of the
Yeah.
rights that is not a fundamental human rights is the right to a job. I know a lot of lefties think so. You don't actually have a right to a job. You don't have a right to someone else's money.
Yeah.
So that is not, no rights were violated. She had a contract, just like he said, and she violated the contract. What
Yeah.
should happen is she should be fired and blacklisted from the industry. But because
they're not gonna do that.
these same see what's happening is this is just chickens coming home to roost. The same people who are now annoyed at her for running her big fat mouth are the same people who put her in that position and gave her all the fluff and the bells and whistles to do it. And they pushed for years. They pushed their queer agenda and the woke stuff and the DIE. And now it's coming back to bite them in the ass because it turns out these people are freaking horrible. And at some point, they cross a line and they just become uncontrollable. And so there they are. I mean, I understand what he's saying, but the fact is his dad is part of that machine that put these people in
Mhm.
as the face of their company. And now they're having to deal with the predictable outcomes. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, his dad, I'm sure, was annoyed. And yeah, he did the right thing by going to give her a talking to. But you know what? I don't really feel a lot of sympathy for them because they did this.
Yeah.
Remember, his dad is the producer of Snow White. At what point did you think any of this was a good idea? This is just him trying to put out a little fire, but he's really responsible for most of this stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I just love that. Oh, the rules are being broken because they're being directed at me. It's like, yeah, okay. So, Gina Carano has an ongoing lawsuit against Disney for that very thing. So it's very interesting that she makes that point, isn't it? I'm sure that won't be used at all.
It's crazy that like these leftist wokies or these are just retards in general. They would say that they're being oppressed, or they're saying that, oh, you're taking away my First Amendment rights. I thought you're all about free speech. Bitch, it's only about free speech if it suits them.
Yep.
If it does not suits them, they will use that shit against you. All right?
Mhm.
Where are all the fucking people saying that, oh, they came together and universally just banned a bunch of people, shut people down, and like no one said anything about it because it's their opposition. Oh, I don't care. I don't care if Trump, got silenced. I don't care if this person got silenced. It doesn't matter. But if they get silenced, they're gonna start freaking out. But
Yeah, and they try to pull the hypocrisy card. I thought you
yes,
guys were for free speech. We are, but you made this rule. Like we're not in charge. You're in charge. You've been in charge for like decades. This is what
yeah,
happens, and now you're dealing with this, and now we get to point and laugh, and now you're mad at us for pointing and laughing.
All right, let's go ahead and watch this cringe video.
Oh boy. Listen to that echo.
No one was there.
Yeah.
No, you
Yeah,
see all the seats? No one was
yeah.
there.
Yeah, she has like so much stuff beside her, because meaning there's an empty seat.
Yeah.
She has
Yeah.
so much stuff beside her.
Like, I'm trying to look if there's like any heads in the front. No.
Every
No.
frame of pause. Pause on her freaking laughing. Go back. Go back. See that face?
Yeah.
She's not acting there. She is genuinely overjoyed to see her own fucking name on this piece of trash. This is the
Man.
kind of evil that exists. She
Oh,
will
man.
burn down the entire industry and the entire history of the industry just for this moment of having not only her name up on screen, but look at her fucking tongue. Look at the curled freaking snake tongue she has going on.
She probably rented out the theater for herself. I believe someone mentioned, I forgot who it was, that they actually, there's actually like if you go back and watch like more of the videos, she actually goes up to the box office, like the actual ticket stand, and buys a ticket, and he's like, "Hey, one ticket, please, for Snow White," and like they don't even know who she is because she's like, people are filming her. Like, I believe there's like a full video. I forgot. I think it might have been Josiah or Epic Mike that said it, but like it's like there was more of her like going up to the theater, buying a ticket. The person didn't even know who the fuck she was, which is hilarious.
You know
But
what I'm realizing as I'm looking at this picture? I don't actually see her pupils.
no, because she's a fucking demon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in demons, but I gotta say, looking at this picture, whoever does believe in demons, I don't. I'm starting to understand.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and check out where this movie stands in terms of IMDb score. Currently, it has 1.5. Last time I checked, it was like 2.3.
Yeah, not that far off from Dragon Ball Evolution.
Dragon Ball was like 2.5 or something like that. So this has 1.5. And this is really bad. Holy crap. This is like one of the lowest rated movies on IMDb of all time. I want to actually go and check out the all-time low. So between the all-time low, so let's go ahead and so these are the lowest scores. So so she has 1.5. So I would say she's gonna be right over here, probably right over here, in between the Coast of Deception and Super Baby's Baby Geniuses 2. Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas.
I bet that's a much better movie.
So yeah, this is a worse movie than all of these right over here. So Grae, Battlefield Earth, Kung Pao, the Super Mario Brothers 92 movie, The Room. It's like all of those movies are considered better than Snow White.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. Yeah, this is such a shit show. But I think that Disney is not really caring about this movie anymore. They're like, all right, let's move on. Let's focus on Lilo and Stitch live action.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's not what they're focused on.
I think like that one, in terms of like Disney, like not Marvel or anything else, but like that's the movie they're going to be focusing on next. I think that movie's going to make a shit ton of money. Oh man, but we'll see what's going to happen. But I think it's going to get worse. I think my initial thing was I think this movie might probably would have made maybe like $500-600 million, but I don't think it's going to hit that much. I think it's going to probably stop. I think it might. The fact that this movie is worse in terms of I guess scoring than the Marvels, right? Because the Marvels really bad, and it didn't. I believe it didn't surpass what's it called again? 300 million. I don't think it surpassed that much. But let's go ahead and check out before we skip to a different topic. Let's go ahead and check out the reviews.
Yeah, and I know some of the posters for you guys, they're already removing it. I saw. I forgot whose video it was. Like the painting of the poster, so it's already half like being removed. So you know they're removing it already.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So this is the tomato meter. Top critics 29, all time critics with all critics 41. Verified audience pretty fucking high 73. Let's go to all audiences, shall we? Not
What's a verified audience that makes
A
it so
verified
high?
bot.
this is the actual rating for Snow White. To all critics and all audience, this is the actual legitimate rating, and this is true. This movie was really bad, and like I would rather go back and watch. I don't know, like I would rather watch like Aladdin, at least like the girl who played Jasmine is hot, right? And I would rather go back and watch like Beauty and the Beast. Fucking, I never watched Cinderella. I might watch Cinderella. Like this one was probably the worst one I've seen in terms of live action. Like I said, Mulan is just like it's one of my favorite Disney animated movies. So that's the reason why I hate that one. But like this one is just god awful. Like at least I didn't fall asleep like 3 times. But yeah, holy shit, this is freaking. This is a travesty. Because like Walt Disney is literally rolling in his grave. It's like, duh, what the hell is happening? How can you do this? Thanks for checking out this segment from the Project Eggroll podcast. Make sure to catch us live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Also, be sure to subscribe, and we will see you all there.